This is a world of magic and swords and, of course, adventurers. Yet only a few manage to ever reach the pinnacle of adventurers, the S rank: assassin, archer, berserker, caster, lancer, and of course, this motherfucker. So who is this man? He is, of course, your average marketing major student you made fun of during college days, because imagine making inflating influencers' egos a job. But I digress. When others are honing their mastery in swordsmanship, magecraft, and kung fu, this man is training the art of using his tongue. Since he has no other skills that may please others and satisfy his superiors, he must resort to using his mouth. A man wearing attire that befits a noble breaks the silence. On his shoulder was a robe that is usually worn by a king. Insolent fool, have you else to say? Our boy in hentai protagonist haircut maintains his composure in front of the apparent king and lets him finish his sentence. Ned Walkinter, our main character, has just been excommunicated from the adventurer party Stardust Lights against his will by the command of his royal fat ass. Ned's noble phantasm, connections of the highest order, is a complicated ability for mere mortals to understand. He may have the physical prowess of a toddler on vegan diet, but he is that one employee in the company you cannot get rid of because he is your boss's nephew. Except his network of acquaintances is so far-reaching, every third person you see that is somewhat capable may be his friend. After getting kicked out of the palace, our boy arrives at the local marketplace to pick up a few items. He stops by the shop owned by a random ugly bastard and expresses his willingness to purchase 6 communication stones, priced at 20,000 zeni. The shop owner stops MC mid-trade and explains that each communication stone is capable of storing up to 100 contacts, so one such item should be enough. Hearing the stone's storing capability, MC gasps in astonishment for the sheer impotence of the product. "Only 100? He exclaims. "I will take 8 then. Why do you hate money?" He is initially planning to purchase 6, assuming each stone is iStone Pro Max. Therefore, he will now need 8 Peasant iStone to accommodate his needs. Question: how many total contacts did MC intend to store? Let X be the number of people. In the next scene, Ned arrives at the shipyard in town. He finds Walmart Joseph Joster smoking a cigar in the box office. Ned leans his upper body into the window and asks the clerk if there is availability on a ship to the Kingdom of Nvidia. He needs to arrive by 5 a.m. to buy the latest 5090 before other weebs can get to them. Walmart Joseph opens one eye and tells him he doesn't get paid enough to care if 1 or 2 slips onto the ship without him noticing. However, there is something to take a mental note of. There seems to be a Kraken on the loose bother passerby ships on the naval route. As such, only A-ranked adventurers and people on public institution missions may board the ship for the time being. No problem, because our boy is still an A-ranked adventurer despite being weaker than Thanksgiving turkey. The clerk is quite amused by Ned's adventurer license. He didn't know a potato like him can be so capable. MC interrupts Joseph's thought process and asks for a nautical chart of the surrounding waters. Ned peeks at the map and runs off toward the sunset, evading the ticket successfully. Aboard the ship, Ned takes a seat on top of a crate of goods, providing a new type of flavor to whatever ingredients stored underneath his rear. Before he left the port, he robbed some newspapers from an unsuspecting child for entertainment during lengthy 7-day transportation. The latest news is that the hero party has departed from the capital city. This takes Ned back to when he was getting bullied inside his royal fat-ass's courtroom. King Dumbass of the Intel Kingdom sat on his throne in the courtroom. He informs Ned that he wishes to appoint Stardust Light, Ned's original adventure party, as Intel Kingdom's hero party. Various neighboring countries have dispatched their own heroes party to subjugate the Demon King. As a result, Intel must take action and send their own heroes party so as to not look stupid. This was why Ned was summoned to the courtroom on that day. The king continues, "It seems like your party is quite competent, unlike my dick." What? Ned takes the king's praise with humility and attributes all the accomplishments to his teammates who he gathered as a result of his traveling around the world. "Oh, I see," says the king. "Then the team should do well without you if they are also capable." "I beg you pardon? Nanny the f*** did your highness just dispense from that royal respiratory hole of yours?" "Yes, son, I intended to f*** you over. Everyone in the Stardust party is extremely capable except you. Everyone in Ned's party was easily S-ranked except him, who was barely able to maintain his A-rank status. Ned was thus treated as a burden and ousted from the party. Among the many classes in Ned's party, knight, monk, saint, he was the least useful one, a manager. Such insolence in front of the king. How does one dare claim personal relations as their weapon of choice? The kingdom cannot possibly appoint someone who cannot even wipe their own rear without dirtying their fingers as the leader of the hero's party. The Prime Minister of Intel has joined the chat. He informs MC that the word has set the attention on the hero's party. They must not lose face by having Ned lead the face of the country. They cannot possibly look for another adventurer's party, because the companions he found were so skilled and none other stands parallel to them. Unfortunately for the king and the Prime Minister, what they do not understand is that Ned is the only link capable of pulling so many talents together. He acts more like a beastmaster than a manager. By taking him away, the country is essentially letting a tank roam free without directions on a highway full of people. The king laughs at Ned's warning, thinking it was one of the funniest jokes he's heard this year, only second to his wife telling him that he did great last night. The king continues his ultimatum, informing Ned of his decision to replace him with Julius, the country's royal knight, as the new party leader. He is the same age as Ned, but with a much higher stat. Ned remains doubtful Julius the fuckboy can regulate his ex-party members without fail. None of them are ordinary by any means. He can already see what type of damages may be caused by this unbounded party. To avoid any legal implications as the party's ex-manager, he wants to escape the Intel Kingdom as soon as possible. The ship ride is long, and the people in this world do not yet have the technology to keep themselves entertained throughout the lengthy journey. Like a good weeb, Ned hops on Discord and finds himself an e-girl for some pastime. Unfortunately for him, Night Booberina happens to pass by and overhears his elementary level of pickup lines to some girl in the kingdom of Nvidia. Are you 50-90 because without you I cannot see? We see that the mystery e-girl is apparently quite interested in Ned, perhaps because he is the biggest bag of money that she knows to walk on two legs. A while later, seeing that Ned has concluded the call, the knightess sees the chance to introduce herself. Her name is Ascent, a knight from the kingdom of Nvidia. What could she possibly gain from this interaction? I see. She comes to glaze Ned's donut. Given the situation, except the public servants, only A-ranked adventurers or above can board the ship at this time. When the time comes, if it ever does, Ascent will have someone to rely on to get her ass out of forced-only fan situation. Enough pleasantries, says Ned. Honey trap like you does not work on gigachads like me. I may have connections with a few hundred people, but we are all JoJo fans. Sucking on bananas is what we do for breakfast. There is no place for boobery between our brotherly love strong as steel. Besides, I'm a bottom. Hearing the man in front of her may have a hole as glorious as Van Gogh's sunflower, Ascent loses interest quickly. She thought she could hook someone who is a top G but didn't know MC was such a coward. No matter, the knightess waves it off. I will see you in combat when the time comes. May your rear still be as rigid as the day I met you. Before she leaves, Ascent does not forget to give a final bombastic side-eye, fully expressing her discontent. Perhaps the best outcome of this trip is for neither of them to meet each other again, and for the Kraken to never show up. Oh, guess what shows up next? Yep, Tentacle Master 69. With his strong, girthy arms, the Kraken easily slaps the top deck of the ship in half, breaking off its structure integrity. The shockwave penetrates the cabin deck and almost sends Ned straight to Jesus. This is the first time Ned has seen an octopus so large before. Kraken is known as an extremely dangerous coward, because it will quickly swim into hiding if it encounters someone stronger. You! Hearing a familiar yet slightly annoying voice, Ned uncontrollably squeezes his ass tighter together. Why is a bottom like you on the top deck now? Asks Ascent, carrying two non-responsive NPCs in her arms. We must thank her for her contribution, as if these two NPCs remain on scene, I may need bleachers in my eyes if we trigger defeat CG. The pair arrives at a temporary hideout where they placed all injured NPCs. Ascent, being a proud knightess of Nvidia, tells Ned to go into hiding until she resolves the situation. Still doubtful, but Ned obliges and stays behind. Meanwhile, on the top deck, things are getting out of control. Giant tentacles are roaming around, spitting white liquids everywhere. Squeaks the knight, carrying a comically large shield. Unfortunately, the shield is still too small for his ego. He repents as he flies backward into a crowd of NPCs. Unbeknownst to the knights, Ned is quietly observing the whole battlefield from a vantage point. He grips a horn-like object tighter and tighter, as he realizes the situation becomes worse for the knights. Just as a tentacle is about to finish off a poor soldier, Ascent shows up with Excalibur MK 0.5 and saves the day. The soldier who was just saved is so pleased that he drops on all fours on the spot and swears to become a devout gooner that worships MILF Knightess. Another tentacle strikes, giving Ascent no time to think. She drags the gooning soldier's sorry ass out of the scene and finds a spot to reassess the current battlefield. The knights are obviously no match for Tentacle Master 69. At this rate, her mourning family would only be able to find her on R34. Of all the 10 available knights excluding Ascent, 4 went to Tea Party with Poseidon, 2 almost met Jesus. As for the last 4, they are seeing Buddha in their dreams. This is not the time to think about what tag she may be labelled with if defeated. Having had enough from the utter incompetence of her teammates, Ascent decides to lead the pack. "Please wait," shouts one of the soldiers. "If we lose you, your Yuri Princess CP will be deeply saddened." It is at this time that Ascent remembers that she has a Yuri waifu waiting for her at home. Sandwiched by this moral dilemma, Ascent knows not what to act at the moment. On the other hand, being a forever bottom, Ned fears no one, and he could not care less for the no PP energy Yuri bullshit that is happening underneath him. The knights can barely keep up. Just as they are about to lose all hope, they hear. I haven't heard music this moving in years, they collectively thought. When they regather their thoughts, they realize the Kraken has stopped attacking. Next, it starts screeching and waving its tentacles randomly as if it is in pain. Determined to get a better grasp of the situation, our knightess dashes to another angle for a better view. What she sees is the advertisement for an upcoming MMORPG. A bunch of mermans, or fish people, surrounded the Kraken and are poking at it with their sticks. The mermans are known to be hostile to humans, yet now they are redirecting their combat prowess towards the Kraken. In mere minutes, the monster is repelled and sinks towards the bottomless sea. There is no observed casualties from the merman's side. The humans can still hardly believe they are just saved, but something forces their noodles back to function. The fish people are demanding a reward for defeating the Kraken, as they should. This is the most unexpected. The knights are ill-equipped to deal with this situation, not to mention understanding what the mermans meant by reward. A lazy voice assumes command from the side. "Apples, right? I know. Ned shows up like the dumbass he is and starts dumping all the apples into the sea. Apples, a common household item for human, is a rare delicacy for the sea dwellers. It is not too much to say that it is the crystallization of life. MC has prepared the apples beforehand, sensing he may, in the worst case, need them. He then apologizes for summoning the pack in such short notice, to which they respond, "It's nothing if it is to help a brother." Ned has once made a pact with the mermans with his mouth no jutsu. In fact, his skill is so outstanding that the Queen demands to see him again here and now. If Ned does not comply, the mermans are ordered to destroy the ship that he is on board of. Being a true politician means one is not just good with words. What wrong can a little friendly neighborhood bribery do? After giving 1 extra apple to the leader of the merman, Ned manages to escape without any more trouble. After the commotion, Ascent stops Ned on his way back to the resting quarters, attempting to ask some questions. "I heard you were good with mouth, can you drop by my room tonight?" What she meant to ask was that how did Ned, a human, manage to befriend mermans, who are known to be aggressive and hostile? Did he perhaps utilize those gigabadonkers of his, thus Van Gogh's sunflower? Nay, Ned simply became friends with them by living together with them in the sea, to be more specific, living with the Lore tribe. Having this bonding experience is crucial to why he was able to negotiate with the mermans. He may not have the best combat abilities, but when it comes to having connections all over the place, he is second to none. In other words, he is the friend who knows a guy. No matter with what methods, the man in front of our knightess is the one who voided her R34 fate. As such, she swallows her pride and extends her hand, offering a gratitude that I frankly do not give a doo-doo about. This handshake marks the end of this chapter, and the beginning of the man who will give an offer people cannot refuse. If you liked this story and would like to know more about this manga, you can continue from chapter 2. Check the pinned comment below for the name of the series. As always, thank you for watching.